Hey, this is Leah and Wookie. Welcome to the workshop. Today we're going to show you the second part of our making a goat mask. This is moulding.
So we're making a one-part plaster mould for this. To start with, we're going to build up a clay wall around the back and edge of the mask sculpture.
It's going really quite close to the sculpt itself because we didn't want to risk locking the mould onto the head, and we did only want to make a one-part mould for this one.
So we're just cutting slabs of clay off with a clay cutter, and we lay them around the sculpture, reinforcing them from the back with other lumps of clay. This one's being moulded in the upright position because I think I can get away with it. Sometimes we'd lay it down flat, but not today. Lots of clay behind to keep those walls in place, especially as they start to go against gravity. Then we're going to neaten up everything to keep it locked together neatly without gaps, and just run it round, making sure, you see there, Liz pointed out a gap. You don't want a gap in your mould wall because the plaster will fall through.
Yep. And you need them nice and smooth and strong enough that, it's not going to leak. And that gap in particular is right behind the ear, so hard to spot from the other angle.
Yeah, so just got my slabs of clay cut into walls, then cut them out to shape to allow them to work together.
So detailed plaster layer, if you've watched us before you'll have seen us do this a few times. So making up a bowl of fairly thin plaster, and you can see it's going in there until it islands and we leave it to slake. And we've got to entirely coat the head in this. This is to capture all the detail. We don't want any join lines on the mould between the first layer of plaster.
Yeah, so for this you just sort of put your plaster into warm water until it completely is saturated, and you can tell that because it reaches that dry lake bed thing all over the surface. Then you leave it to slake out, which you can see happening now, where the white bit slowly turns to that kind of browny grey tone.
And then we mix it up, sort of an action like you're milking a cow. Keep mixing, and then we brush it on. Gently, obviously, because you don't want to damage the surface of your sculpt, but usually they're fairly solid by this point, and have a release layer on.
This one doesn't have a securing layer because there's no seam line going over the thing.
Ah. So yeah, brushing a solid coat all over the whole thing.
Now you'll note I've mixed up a very large bowl of plaster for no readily apparent reason. Yep. But it means I can just do this in one hit.
You'll sometimes seen us working with two of us on this, and you can see I'm sort of supervising off screen. But this one, it wasn't really big enough to have both of us working on together.
Especially because of the way it's upright, it's easier for one person to move it around.
So it's cleaning off the edges, make sure they're nice and smooth and no sharp points. No points, I mean pointy bits make it more likely to be damaged.
And you'll cut your hand.
Yep.
Now the second layer, mix up another bowl of plaster again, warm water, fill the bowl with plaster until it's fully absorbed in the water.
There you go. You can watch it slaking again. We sit around, have a chat. Just waiting for the little white island to go the sort of slightly more beige colour, which means it's all absorbed the water, it's ready to go. For this one, Wookie's about to clean up a bit and get some scrim cuts, I think.
Yep.
Which will be the reinforcing layer to give it extra strength.
This is used because plaster's good in compressive strength but doesn't have very much in tension, and the hessian will give it some strength in tension.
So in a minute we'll start with this, and we will soak each piece of hessian in the plaster and then apply it to the face. We need to make sure we smooth it out with no air bubbles in there once we get it on the head.
So you see, just mix up the plaster, then just slap the hessian in. To start with, I'm just wrapping it around the ears to secure those. Then put a folded layer up to the edge with the fold on the outside where possible.
That means that you avoid having too many dangly bits of string like the one you can see at the bottom there, or too many bits where when you're scraping around the edge, you'll catch it on that.
So again, we're cleaning up the edge. This is still while it's wet, trying to make a nice neat finish so you don't cut your hands or provide any stress razors around the edge of the mould.
Yep.
This gets done, then left for a little while, then you can peel off the clay wall.
And then we would normally leave that one overnight, if possible.
Yeah, you do this next bit first because we're just going to clean up the edge with a surf on.
Oh yeah.
That's best done while the plaster is slightly soft.
So we haven't got the video of us popping it off the head. It came off quite quickly, this one.
It's very easy, just fell off almost.
So this is just cleaning out the clay that's inside it. Usually you can get at least some of it to peel off in those, you know, in the sheets that it was when we originally put it on. And you can see we're just digging around at the edges trying to get an edge up, and so that we can pull it. There we go, nice solid chunk out.
It's important to note that you should be using a plastic or wooden tool at this. Don't use a metal tool, you'll scratch the inside of your mould.
Yep, and leave marks. You can still see the bits around the sockets for the horns there.
I'm trying to dig out as much clay as we can from the ears and things.
Yeah, and around the horns, so we can get as much out at this stage, which will make the next stage just a little easier. So we're going to start pressure washing. We've got the goat mask there. We've also got the small block mould, which is the ear for our fishman that we did recently. It's not a proper pressure washer, so we are okay wearing sandals around it.
Yeah, it's no more than a glorified squeezed hose, really.
Yeah.
But it's enough to get clay out.
Yeah, so the major thing here is, of course, we need to clean around it and get any trace amounts of clay, but particularly the ears, because we couldn't dig all the clay out of the ears. So
that's just a constant layer of pushing the pressure washer, let it saturate through the clay, turn it to liquid again, and then dig it out again and repeat that until it's clean.
yeah.
There you go. Thanks very much for watching. See you again next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.